Joining me now is Jun Park, Research Fellow on Northeast Asia at the Key Research Institute at Seoul National University Asia Center. Jun, great to see you.
Good to have you here.
Thank you for coming. I want to begin by asking you about this round of Moon-Kim summit talks. What can we expect?
Well, basically, I think the steps toward denuclearization are not really clear, and they want to kind of specify what steps should be taken forward. And in order to make this a little bit more easier and streamlined, they're sending the task force in order to sort of consolidate the agenda, make some bullet points, and then have the Blue House prepare for the steps. I think right now we're poised to have the September 5th, the visit of the delegation, but I think the dates are probably set within the Blue House agenda, but it's not really publicized as of yet.
Another key player in the whole situation is, of course, the United States and the Trump administration in particular. Where are relations between the U.S. and the DPRK after the Singapore summit?
So Secretary Pompeo's visit has been postponed or canceled, we could say. And there has been a little bit of a mismatch of how they see things with regard to denuclearization from the North Korean and the U.S. side. Obviously, the letter from the North has aggravated the situation a little bit. So I'm thinking that based on the domestic situation politically in the U.S. towards the midterm, right now there is a possibility that they could be just prolonging this kind of a under-the-table kind of transactions and U.S.-North Korea relationships without having to do so much investment into each other until the midterm.
President Trump has accused China for derailing the relationship, the talks between the U.S. and the DPRK. Is it a fair accusation?
Well, just seeing from the optics, I think right now North Korea is very close to a bargaining chip between the U.S., China, and the trade war. And whether it's an accusation or an allegation, it's hard to say because both sides have their own sort of positioning, bargaining. And there is this situation of the Korea peace process going forward. So both sides are trying to make the best out of the situation, and they're just throwing their rhetorics at each other. I think that's what it is.
And do you think the trade war between China and the U.S. have played into this whole geopolitical situation?
Of course. And believe it or not, I think the North Korea situation is just one part of this geopolitical contest going on between the U.S. and China.
And what would be the end game between U.S. and China?
The end game, I'm thinking this trade war, if we look at it from the U.S. perspective and the Chinese perspective and the mismatch of their interests, I think that this kind of a trade confrontation will persist for at least a decade at the minimum. So we won't see who is the real winner or a real loser. We would just see a frantic on and off contest between the two countries as we go along.
Jun Park, thank you so much for your perspectives.
Thank you.